It was past midnight, and after hours of tossing and turning, I finally got out of bed to grab some water. The living room lights were still on, and as I padded silently down the hallway, memories of the past few days rushed back to me. That night was unlike any other. My cousin Ethan had sent Leo over to stay with me for a while. When Ethan told me what had happened to Leo, my heart broke for him. His wife had betrayed him, and his entire world had crumbled overnight. Leo, who had been married to the same woman for over a decade, was blindsided in the cruelest way imaginable. Ethan's voice still echoed in my mind. "Lily, please take him in. He needs a place to heal, somewhere peaceful." I barely knew Leo. Sure, we'd exchanged pleasantries at family gatherings, but he was practically a stranger to me. Yet, the weight of his sorrow tugged at my heart. I'd already endured so much loss myself. My husband, Daniel, passed away 8 years ago, taken suddenly by a heart attack. One moment, we were discussing plans for our dream home, and the next, my world was shattered. For years, I'd carried the emptiness his death left behind. Lately, the loneliness felt sharper, like a thorn digging deeper with each passing day. And tonight was one of those nights where the ache felt unbearable. Are you ready for what comes next? This isn't just another story. It's about blurred lines, emotions spiraling out of control, and the weight of unspoken confessions. Every moment might stir something deep inside you, so buckle up. As I stepped into the living room, I saw Leo sitting on the couch, his face illuminated by the glow of a TV. A romantic movie played softly in the background. He turned to me, his eyes filled with an uncertainty that made my heart ache. "Did I wake you up?" he asked, his voice tinged with guilt and weariness. I shook my head, offering a small smile. "No, I just came to get some water." The truth was, the emptiness inside me felt too heavy to ignore, and maybe sitting with someone would help. "Want some company?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Leo nodded, motioning to the empty spot on the couch. "Sure, I could use a little company." I hesitated for only a moment before sitting beside him. As the movie played on, I found it hard to focus. The couple on screen, their tender glances and soft touches, stirred memories I had buried long ago. And then, by chance, my arm brushed against Leo's. I pulled back quickly, apologizing. "Sorry," I muttered, my face flushing. "It's okay," he replied softly. His calm demeanor only heightened the tension in the room. Suddenly, the space between us felt impossibly small. I couldn't understand what was happening, why the air felt so charged. As the movie ended, I stood up abruptly, mumbling something about needing to sleep. My mind was racing, emotions swirling in a way I hadn't experienced in years. That night, I barely slept. By morning, I decided to play the piano, hoping the familiar keys would soothe my restless mind. Music had always been my solace, a connection to Daniel and the life we'd shared. The melody filled the room, calming me until I noticed a shadow outside the window. It was Leo, returning from an early morning walk. Moments later, he stepped inside. He stood quietly, listening, as my fingers danced across the keys. When I finally noticed him, I stopped playing, startled. "Don't stop," he said, smiling. "That was beautiful. The best thing I've heard in ages." "Thank you," I replied, my voice barely audible. There was something about his presence that unsettled me, yet I couldn't bring myself to pull away. "Did you know," he began, "it's my birthday today. 40 years old." His words caught me off guard. "Really?" I asked, an idea forming in my mind. "We should celebrate. How about a cake and some wine tonight?" Leo's face lit up. "I'd like that, but only if you play the piano for me again." That evening, as we sat together, the wine flowing freely, the atmosphere grew lighter. We laughed and talked, but there was an undercurrent of something deeper. When he asked me to play again, I obliged, pouring my heart into the melody. The music seemed to connect us in a way words couldn't. As the final note faded, Leo appeared beside me, his hand gently covering mine. "You're incredible," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. His touch was grounding, yet it sent my emotions spiraling. For a moment, the world felt still, as if we were the only two people left. The night unfolded in ways I never anticipated, each moment blurring the lines between right and wrong. By morning, the weight of what had happened pressed heavily on both of us. Leo stood in the kitchen, making coffee, his expression unreadable. When our eyes met, the unspoken understanding between us was undeniable. "Lily," he began, his voice steady but pained. "What happened last night? It was a mistake. We can't let this continue." I nodded, the ache in my chest growing. "You're right. This isn't fair to either of us." We sat in silence, the gravity of our decision sinking in. As much as it hurt, we knew this was the only way forward. Leo left that afternoon, and as the door closed behind him, I was left with the echo of his presence. The connection we'd shared, however fleeting, had changed something inside me. It reminded me that even in the darkest moments, there was a glimmer of something more, hope, perhaps, or the possibility of healing. Days turned into weeks, and life began to settle into its usual rhythm. Yet, I often found myself thinking about Leo, about the night that had stirred emotions I thought were long buried. The piano became my sanctuary again, a place where I could lose myself in melodies and reflect on the fragile nature of human connection. One evening, as I played, a familiar figure appeared outside my window. For a moment, my heart skipped a beat. But it wasn't Leo. It was a reminder that life moves forward, carrying with it the echoes of our choices. And as the melody filled the room, I realized that even though some chapters must end, the memories they leave behind can guide us toward new beginnings.